So I ran into a little bit of a problem. I decided I was going to replace the wheel cylinder and of course the brake line fitting didn't want to cooperate. I was able to get the nut loose, broke loose, but the nut was stuck to the brake line, and I wanted to, of course, twist the brake line and all that. So, and I heated it up, soaked it with penetrating oil, and fought with it for a while, and I finally decided I'm just gonna give up on it. So I'm just gonna make a new line for it. At the other end, it was doing the same exact thing. I just finally put the wrench on it and twisted it around, and that side broke free. After I twisted the line probably one and a half turns. So anyway, I already have the line, so I'm going to make a new line for it. So we'll get that out of the way. Alright, well, we got our wheel cylinder installed there. New brake line going over there, so that's all taken care of. Now, next step is going to be putting the we're going to put the cable, the new cable in there. Okay, I'm a little confused why that doesn't line up for, but we'll figure that out. Well, this is very frustrating. Seems to be my cable is defective. It's just ridiculous. It's the AC Delco brand too. It's not some name brand you've never heard of before, and this is uncalled for. It doesn't line up. I don't know if you can see that. I can't push it down because it stops there. The bolt holes don't line up. They crimped that in the wrong spot. So, and that's crimped. So what do I gotta do now? Well, I suppose I gotta cut the weld there and uncrimp it and readjust it and crimp it again, I guess. Such a shame. Waste of time, but oh well, I'll get it done. Okay, got it split. Well, now I gotta separate it without totally demolishing the whole entire thing. This would be nice to not do. That's how much we had to move it, like almost 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I got the other end of the cable up on the mount in the frame, and now we're just going to go ahead and reinstall it. Here's the backing plate. Okay, so now we just have to connect the cable down at the other end. So reattach the cable there, up there. Now I probably could have, let's see, well, it's got the springy thing there, so it's got the tension on it. I was trying to pull it by hand to get it back into that down there, but there's a little too much tension on it, so I'm going to probably have to loosen it up at the adjustment, and then I'll be able to reconnect it. But so other than that, the whole purpose for this project has been completed. Now we just got to put everything back together, the brakes and everything. Well, okay, we got the brake shoes and all of that put all back on. So, looking good there. I found a clip for that. And actually, that bracket was a little bent. I had to actually straighten it out. So, but anyway, that turned out okay. Oh yeah, before we go, just because I referenced it at the beginning of the video, there's the adjuster there and your lever here that keeps it from going backwards. And of course, when you want to release it, you got to shove something in, like a screwdriver from behind, push the lever to release it, and then work this wheel. Everything was stiff, and so I had to actually come in with a chisel, a small like chisel punch, and actually beat it to get it to loosen up. It wasn't badly rusted, but it was just enough where it was just putting up a fight. And also it might have been because everything was so tight, which could have been part of it too. But anyway, so now we're going to go put the new seal in the drum hub assembly. Alright, okay, so I put the bearing back in. I cleaned up the bearing. I'd gotten dirt in it when I was trying to pull the seal out. The outer bearing, which is going to be down there, I didn't take out. It'd be too much work to take out because you got to there's a clip in there you got to take out, then you got to take the race out. That's too much work. So I just sprayed it out with degreaser, brake parts cleaner. Try to get all the dirt or anything out of there that I could. And then I put, you want to lube these. I didn't have I can't find my wheel bearing grease. So I just used some heavy duty red grease. That'll be good enough because these are going to be, of course, oiled by the differential gear oil. Once it gets to it, either when you fill it up or when you're drive or park on the side of a hill or whatever, it'll be lubricated, or while you're driving. But until then, we want to put some kind of lubrication so it doesn't start off dry anyway. So I poured a little bit of Lucas down in there because that's some thick, just some thick, heavy oil. And I tried to pack some of the red grease down on the other bearing. This one here I rolled around in red grease and I put a little Lucas on top. Don't know, there's probably a more correct way of doing that. But I mean, packing them with regular wheel bearing grease would be the best thing to do. But anyway, that's going to be fine. So right now what I got to do, I'm going to put the seal in. Going to clean up the outer edge there. Make sure there's no grease there. It's going to take a little brake parts cleaner, put it on the paper towel, and without dipping it down in the grease too much, clean this edge inside here. And see, it's got grease on me again. Alright, so I'll take our seal. You may not, you probably don't have to do this, but what I'm going to do, put a little bit of gasket maker sealant around it. We're not going to go too crazy, just do a thin layer. Again, you may not have to do this, but it's just what I like to do. Just for added security, that it's not going to leak around it or anything goofy. No. Alright. Now I'm going to wipe the brake shoe lining, this surface in here, out with brake parts cleaner one more time, and then we're going to go stick it back on. Here's our special tool. There's the part number. If you can't read it, I'll put it down in the description for anyone that wants one. Alright, so we torqued the bearing down 60 foot-pounds, then loosened it, and then 35 foot-pounds, and then loosened it, and then how I did it was I adjusted it just until all the play was out of the bearings. And then you torqued the did I say the first bearing was 50? I don't know if I said 60 or not. So it's 50, then 35, and then like I said, I just loosened it up and tightened it till all the slop was out of the bearings. And then tightened the lock nut down to, I believe 60, 65 for this axle, I believe. Specifications on torque ratings are kind of debatable. I would suggest anyone watching this that's going to do this themselves, do some research on your specific year truck, figure out what axle you have. I've kind of just estimated what axle I have. I haven't done all the research, ran the numbers, figured out the exact year and everything, which I probably should do and will do eventually, but for the time being, those are the specs I went with. I would highly suggest anyone out there that's doing this, do your own research and get the right torque specs for your particular year, because it may vary from year to year. I don't know. Okay, so now that that's all back on, or the bearings are all set, I have bled the brakes, adjusted the brakes shoes close enough. I'm going to put the axle back in, and of course I preferred to I went ahead and did the brakes and all that now, that way I can spin the hub and check my tension on the shoes and all of that. So now I'm going to get that axle put back in there. I did put a very thin layer of gasket maker, very thin, on there on the hub and on the gasket on the axle. May not be necessary with a new gasket, I'm not entirely sure. This is just how I do it. Anyway, so let's get it put in. Alright, I've just got them all hand tight. Since I've got that sealer on there, well, they're snug down, but you're supposed to torque them. I believe when I looked it up, it's like 115 foot-pounds. Seemed like a lot, but kind of. I want to double check that before I actually
torque them down. I don't want to break the bolts off. But I'm going to leave it like that, I think, for tonight. Let the sealant dry or cure or whatever. And then I'll come back probably tomorrow and torque them down. So anyway, that's all of that's all wrapped up now. I just got to get under there and get the rest of that cable hooked up down below. I got to get under there and loosen up that adjuster, so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so we're under the truck here. There's our adjuster rod. There's that piece and the nut. And take it all apart. Had to take it completely apart. There's our cable. Of course, that's going to go over the cross member. All this is up behind the cross member here. Of course, some of these can be different depending on what year model truck you have and what engine, transmission, and cross member you have. But anyway, so we got it hooked up back there. Can't see it, it's too dark, but back that way. So then the cable loops around and goes back there to the other side. So, all right. So this goes on. The cable goes through here, and then goes on like that, and the nut goes on there. So we got some white lithium grease, or well, you could probably use any kind of grease, but that's what I have on hand here. I'm gonna put some grease in here and on the cable, and then where the cable rubs there and there, and hopefully it all goes together. I already tested it. It feels like it's going to be a little tight, but I'm thinking it should hopefully work. So we'll see. Well, alright, filming this part of the video several months later, but anyway, finishing up this video here. So our parking brake cable has been installed. It's all working good. It functions. I may still need to adjust it a little bit more, but it does function. And now, so the cable is working, but I got to fix this down here. The release lever doesn't spring back, so if you pull it and it doesn't pop back, you gotta manually push it back, or else it won't lock in place when you push it down. The pedal where it rides on the mechanism up there seems to be worn or something, so the pedal's kind of wobbly, weird, but that's a whole another separate issue that I'll address later. But I do have a functioning parking brake now, so we were successful. So anyway, more videos on this truck and other trucks, and all the other usual content on the channel, and maybe some new stuff coming soon. So catch you all later.